Hello, and welcome to The Alt Left.
Welcome back, everyone, to The Alt Left. This is episode 121. We've been here for a long time.
A little while, I would say. Done this a couple of times.
Once or twice.
Yeah, that's impressive. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know if it's getting any better, but...
As somebody who listened to the show before hosting the show, I can say, no, we have not.
Fair.
Haven't gotten worse, Drew. Or we just tread water in the same pile of poop.
We are absolutely treading water, but we're treading water with alacrity.
Go us. The flat plane of excellence. How you boys doing?
Yeah, doing fine.
I'm doing pretty decent, I feel like. You know.
Everyone's world kicking along?
It's been busy. But but I'm doing good.
How about you listeners? How you doing?
We never hear
That's
from
great.
the
Anyway, we don't
listeners
care.
anymore.
What?
I was going to say, do we actually ever hear from the listeners anymore?
Not anymore. They never email us. They never. The problem is we have a Discord, so they talk to us on Discord.
Oh,
Yeah, we have
true.
to interact
So we
with them
actually hear from the
directly.
listeners all the time.
They talk to some of us on Discord.
Yeah, okay, so, sorry, they talk to Drew and I. You, on the other hand, who are an old man who is afraid of anything better than an abacus, don't do any kind of real social media.
Fair enough.
And to be fair, Discord's about the extent of my social media.
I mean,
See, I'm not
honestly,
the only one.
same. Like TikTok, Discord, but I'm not on Facebook. Honestly, I will occasionally, I pop into our Twitter just to dump the show links, but I used to have a great time on Twitter. I used to troll right-wingers. I used to post stuff all the time. And then ever since the Muskie stuff, I just don't want to give them the traffic.
Yeah, I don't blame you, because fuck him.
So I share our episodes on Twitter, and that is the end of it. Discord is a lot of where I'm at.
Yeah, but like I've never been on Twitter, I've never had a Tumblr or an Insta, or I'm not on TikTok. So, I mean, like I said, Discord is about the only social media that I do. Like everybody else, I used to have Facebook, and I had MySpace before then, and I've never bothered deactivating my accounts just because it's a hassle. But, yeah, I mean, I don't use those at all anymore.
I just deleted as much as I could off of Facebook.
I'm just going to rename this show Chris and the Boomers. That's not true. Boomers use Facebook. They fucking love Facebook.
Yeah, they do.
Speaking of boomer shit, there is a old Nazi convoy heading across the country to Texas right now.
Hey!
So in case anybody is unaware of the shitstorm going on in Texas, let me explain. There's too much. Let me sum up. That's a Princess Bride reference for you youngins. Basically, Texas has been stringing razor wire through the Rio Grande River, and a couple other water crossways as well, to discourage people so that when they shred their children in the water, they might tell people to stop coming. That is apparently the goal. I don't think that's the real goal, but whatever. That is the stated goal. So anyway, the U.S. government decided they wanted to remove it. Texas said you can't. And the U.S. government went to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court has since ruled that, yes, the federal government has the right to patrol the border, no shit, and that they can remove the wire. Well, Greg Abbott of Texas has decided that states' rights matter, and he is defying the Supreme Court. And to be fair, if there was ever a president to pick, this is the one. Biden has the testicular fortitude of a neutered cat, and won't do anything to rock a boat. I mean, even if it wasn't an election year, he just doesn't ever want to fight with anyone. He just wants to be the peacemaker for all his Republican colleagues that he always talks about. And so he's not doing shit. He sent the National Guard down to remove the razor wire, but the Texas National Guard had a standoff with them, which I find interesting because as Commander-in-Chief of the Army, he has the right to have them stand down and relocate. But he won't even do that. He won't even move troops because he's such a fucking coward. And so there is a standoff happening in the park. What's the name of the park, Drew? It's a bit of irony because the park is named after a Confederate general who refused to surrender and then ended up running away to Mexico. The irony is fantastic.
It's Shelby Park.
Shelby Park, yeah. But yeah, he refused to surrender and he ran away to Mexico illegally. It's pretty great. So anyway, Shelby Park, they're having a standoff, and none of the troops are willing to shoot at each other, but they don't know what to do. And of course, I think it was today or yesterday, Ron DeSantis is sending 1,000 National Guard members from Florida over to Texas to help out.
Yeah, and he's not the only one. A bunch of the other Republican governors have said they're going to send their National Guard as well. And they're even holding a rally. It's going to be 14 Republican governors tomorrow are holding like a press conference, and Sarah Palin's going to be there and other shit.
If no one else is thinking, if people are saying this is rhetoric for civil war, and it's not real, and that's not what they're trying to do. This is the quote from DeSantis when he's ordering his troops down there right now. The goal is to help Texas fortify this border, help them strengthen the barricades, help them add barriers, help them add wire that they need so we can stop this invasion once and for all. And the states have to band together. That's,
Do they genuinely think that there's an invasion happening?
No. Well, I think lots of stupid-ass Americans who are racist think there's an invasion happening.
Yeah, do the governors believe that? No, absolutely not. They just see that this is a convenient issue for them to push forward their agenda. And a little historical footnote, the general's name was Joseph O. Shelby. He was a Confederate general, and he also fought in Bleeding, Kansas, against John Brown. Not John Brown specifically, but he was on the pro-slavery side during Bleeding, Kansas.
Shocker.
What a surprise. His soul does go marching on.
Yeah, but a spokesman for Governor Abbott has said that Texas has allocated $11 billion of their own taxpayer money towards this fight. So, I mean, just picture that in your head. Think of what $11 billion could do to help refugees rather than put up more and more razor wire to drown them.
But we don't want to spend our money to help brown people.
No, we can't spend money to help brown people. That doesn't make any sense.
No, God, no. Perish the thought. They have claimed that they have apprehended over 495,000 illegal immigrants and turned back another 95,000, as well as seized millions of lethal doses of fentanyl, thousands of weapons, and made thousands of arrests. So, their sources, trust me, bro.
Yeah. Oh, there's fentanyl, as if we are not the world's largest producer of it.
Or consumer. I don't understand the thought process going on by the federal government, especially Joe Biden, when the governors are sending essentially United States military personnel to fend off other United States military personnel. How does he not just order the generals or order, the military to stand the fuck down, go the fuck away, and not listen to the governors? Like, I don't understand that.
It would require him to do something first.
To give a fuck?
Yeah, before Biden can do that, he has to first nationalize the Guard units that are deployed down there, which he can do. It takes like 10 minutes and literally has to write down on a sheet of paper, I'm nationalizing this unit. They're federalized.
That's kind of my point. It's like, I don't understand why that doesn't just happen.
It's because it goes back to Chris's point earlier that Biden wants to be the peacemaker. He likes to be seen as the guy that can reach across the aisle. That's how he has spent his entire career. I mean, he is of that same generation as like Joe Manchin, where they still think that there's common ground to be found, and there just isn't. But he refuses to see that because he's an old boomer who just doesn't care.
Yeah. I guess that is the crux of the issue.
We do have to remember that Biden was not brought out to defeat Trump. Trump was going to be defeated by anyone they wheeled out.
Yeah.
Biden was brought out to defeat Bernie Sanders.
Yes.
He was here to be a corporate candidate and not rock the boat. And that's what he's doing.
Yes.
He is working as intended.
So
no recall needed.
It just kind of boggles my mind.
Yeah. Well, and
That
it's the
this
abject
is
cruelty
that
of it,
kind
right?
of an
Because there's no
yes.
point. The razor wire isn't stopping anyone, right? And the only
No, of
people
course
who
not.
know about it are people who are in the 24-hour news cycle, right? It's fucking people like us and rednecks who are watching this going, jerking off, going, yeah, I love it when Mexicans get hurt. Like, that's the only people who are paying attention to this part, right? People who don't have access to basic necessities in life south of the border who are selling kidneys to pay a coyote to get smuggled in are not watching USA Today, right? And so it's not stopping. I mean, it hasn't slowed anything one bit. All it has done is created a massive amount of injuries for no reason. That's it. You think coyotes are going down there going, hey guys, look, I'll still take you, but there's razor wires, so you might not want to pay me money. That's not what's happening.
No.
And in fact, anybody who does know any of the news, the coyotes are going to go, hey, the Supreme Court said the wire's gone. Come on, now's the time, boys. I mean, these guys are businessmen. They're here to make money. And there's actually this amazing quote I got from the Tortua family. There was a great article about this family that crossed over, and his son got his leg ripped open on the wire. And this is like a 5-year-old, right? The Texas authorities wrapped the kid's cut and sent the family down the river and then arrested them all, right? And so, yeah, somewhere along the way, a medic treated the boy's leg. His family was turned over to U.S. Border Patrol where they were processed and released until their court date. And the quote from the father is, it was horrible. He pulled his son Jesus' pant leg up to show the 4 medical staples it took to seal the gash. I don't understand if they were just going to arrest us and let us go. Why do they have to put all that up? It doesn't seem right. And it's like, yeah, it's just torture porn.
Yeah. It's just a bunch of racist assholes that feel like they're being tread upon by all of these illegals, because that's the real problem, is the illegals, you know.
Yeah. You know, people are talking about secession and all this, and there's a lot of, smug liberals who are like, oh, it'll be fine because we'll cut them off and they'll go bankrupt and haha. And it's like, I just fucking do it. Like, let's just do it. Let's just let them go. Let them hold a vote. Let them fucking secede. And let's fucking light this fucking candle. Let's just have it. Let's just make Texas an example
of how well
because
that actually is going to work.
Yeah, because how Biden is doing this is setting an example for other states to defy the federal government, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Like,
he is.
Florida right now is watching this with just a 3-mile away boner that you can see from space. Like, this is... No, send the fucking army. Fuck the National Guard. Send the goddamn army into Texas. Occupy it. Federalize the troops. Those who refuse to muster and be federalized, throw them in prison. Court-martial them. Like, just be brutal. Go in there, march the fucking army in, arrest Abbott for treason, and drag him up to D.C. and hold him for trial. Like, just fucking nail them all to the goddamn wall. And then march into Florida and grab DeSantis for sending troops for this. Like, everyone who has assisted in this rebellion, hold them fucking accountable. Send in the goddamn Air Force and Army. Make them regret not having health care.
But that's actually what the National Guard is for, is to deal with this kind of issue. Don't they not really deploy the actual
Not really. The
military?
National Guard is a state militia. And so they do listen to the governor. Now, yes, they are part of the army, and so they have to listen to the president as well, but the president has to give that order, and he doesn't want to do that because he knows that some of them will defy his orders. And then he'll be forced into a situation where he has to do something or be seen as the weakest guy ever. He doesn't want to be in that predicament. He doesn't want that. I do, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
And anybody who had a pair would do this. They would fucking be like, all right, and they would muster troops at the border and say, you sure you want to do this? You sure you want to go to prison? Is this what we're going to do?
Well, at that point, it would be military prison, so have fun. Good luck.
No, it wouldn't be.
No,
It's
it would be.
still civilian.
Yeah, it would still be federal prison because while Abbott could be considered a commander-in-chief, he is still a civilian. So no, he'd go to federal prison.
He would get off, right? Because I mean, he'd have to be tried in federal court, and there's no way this would actually. They wouldn't put a fucking sitting governor in prison, whatever, blah blah. Unless people died. If people died because of this, that'd be a whole different story. But since no one's died, no one's going to put him in prison. But I'm just saying, while his troops are resisting, if the governor's mansion burns down with him in it, this is the time to take him out. And as someone who's not even the biggest fan of this country in the federal government, I'm not trying to be a cheerleader for the red, white, and blue, but nothing makes me a patriot faster than these fucking Confederate secessionist shitbags. Fuck them. Fuck them. They are the worst of us. And this is what happens when you rebel against the federal government. At least that's what used to happen. I mean, this is American as apple pie. This isn't even like Civil War shit. This goes back to the beginning. Remember, right after George Washington liberated America, he then conquered America. Like, it was only a few years until Shays' Rebellion happened, and he marched the army down and just started slaughtering people and reestablishing and he took over the government and made a new government. We didn't have a constitution day one. We had an Articles of Confederation. George Washington then conquered America, and then we wrote a constitution. Like, this is how it goes. This is what happens.
Yeah, George Washington did it.
And,
well, Andrew Jackson threatened to do it with South Carolina because South Carolina is always the shithead of the country.
yeah, that's valid. Well, it used to be. Now it's Florida. Man, does Texas want that spot so bad.
I think they're pretty on par with each other, to be quite honest.
I don't know. Texas needs to come up with a Lex Luthor to Florida's Florida man.
I mean, Elon Musk already lives there.
Oh, Elon Musk lives in Texas?
Yeah. Yes, he moved to Texas because big bad communist California wasn't letting him do whatever he wanted.
God, if only.
Gotta have your freedoms.
So anyway, that's what's going on. There's a standoff. Don't worry. Everyone's like, oh, it's going to be a civil war and everyone's going to die. No, it's not. Biden's a pussy. Nothing's going to happen. Don't worry.
Yes, that's true.
And then when
Absolutely
Trump wins the
nothing's
next
gonna
election, Texas can do whatever it wants.
And not only Texas, all the rest of the red states there in the middle are going to do what they want because Trump doesn't give a shit. Trump cares about Trump. Trump doesn't care about the country. Trump is just going to be like, the states can do whatever as long as they give me their due deference. It'll be fine.
Yep. So anyway, that's what's going on in Texas. Okay. What's going on?
So there was a U.S. Senate committee, a Judiciary Committee, talking about. They had a full committee hearing featured around social media. They had
and it went as well as the first one, right?
Yeah, it went as well or better or worse depending on how you look at it. They had the CEOs of Discord, Meta, Snap, TikTok, and X, also formerly known as Twitter. I will refer to it as Twitter because hey, I'm getting there. I will refer to it as Twitter because fuck X. And
X is a letter of the alphabet. Twitter is a website.
Yes. When I say Snap, I mean Snapchat. All of the CEOs were given a chance to make a statement at the start, and then the committee members were then allowed to question the CEOs, and this revolves around the Save the Children that we have this kind of hard on in this country for. And I'm not saying that there isn't some shit that happens online as far as kids being exploited or them being groomed or having some sexual abuse or financial abuse or any and all of those things. The legislation that's being suggested is the Stop CSAM Act, which I'm not sure exactly what that stands for, but it is touted as being supporting victims and increasing accountability and transparency for online platforms. There is the Earn It Act, which removes tech blanket immunity from civil and criminal liability under child sexual abuse material laws and establishes a national commission on online child sexual exploitation prevention. And then there's also the SHIELD Act, which ensures that federal prosecutors have appropriate and effective tools to address the non-consensual distribution of sexual imagery. The Project for Safe Childhood Act, which modernizes the investigation and prosecution of online child exploitation crimes, and then also the Report Act, which combats the rise in online child sexual exploitation by establishing new measures to help strengthen reporting of those crimes to the cyber tip line. This committee hearing that they had essentially turned into a farce, like it always does when it comes to a bunch of old, out-of-touch people trying to talk to people about tech.
Can Tick access my Wi-Fi?
Yes, but it was worse than
Which
that.
part of the phone is the internet in?
It was actually worse than that.
Why does China want my Wi-Fi? Is this phone from China? It says made in China. Why are the Chinese taking over my TikToks?
That's
It's all just
because all of your
underage
electronics
children
are
in
made
sexy
China,
outfits.
sir.
I don't understand. But yes, this time it was exceptionally racist.
Yeah, it was exceptionally racist, specifically with the CEO of TikTok, Shou Chow, I think is his name.
I don't know, but I can tell you he's from fucking Singapore.
He is definitely from Singapore. He is not, nor has he ever been a member of the Communist Party, despite how many times he's asked the same question. It was just awful to watch, and I couldn't watch all 3 or 4 hours of this committee hearing, but it was frightening. I have a few different thoughts on this, being that yes, I believe that social media has a responsibility to censor certain things, especially people trying to scam and or exploit others in any form or fashion. And then we talk about children, and while I don't have any children, I have some in my that are near and dear to me, and I feel like that there is a fair amount of responsibility that lies not just with the social media companies, but with parents and allowing their children. Because I know that all of these websites have parental controls that are able to be enacted, as well as that they're not
And
allowed.
every parent who has parental controls is a child who knows how to get around them.
No, and I agree with that. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying. You know, parental controls should be harder to get around, but you should be paying attention to your children more so, I feel. But again, you know, there is a responsibility there of social media companies to help filter as much as they can. I don't think that they're necessarily doing enough, or that more could be done. I'm kind of curious what you guys think and what you feel like.
My question is, and the answer, could there be more done? Well, that's the case in everything, right?
Sure.
But they're not doing enough. Okay, in what way? And this isn't to challenge you, but this is to challenge everyone.
Agreed.
Everyone just goes,
Understood.
they're not doing enough. And it's like, well, what the fuck does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. You're saying there's a problem, then we should address the problem. But simply pointing a finger and saying these companies aren't doing enough, which is what Congress is doing.
Yes.
They're just
very much
blatantly
so.
going, your kids aren't safe. And it's like, okay, well, first of all, kids are never fucking safe, right? End of fucking story. It's the internet. And kids aren't safe in meat space either. Like, that's the thing. It's like, if you're going to let your kids play alone in the park, there's a chance that someone in a fucking creepy van is going to show up.
Yeah.
That's what happens. That's the world we live in. And to sit there and cry foul at tech companies because predators exist is stupid. What you need to do is strengthen laws around catching these guys, set up government task force that actually do things better than the police, get the fucking empower the FBI to set up a task force to actually go after these guys more than they already are. Find out what they're actually doing instead of holding these hearings and saying, how come the talks aren't protecting my babies, and who's the communists in my phone, and I don't know how anything works. How about you actually bring in the FBI and say, hey, what are you guys currently doing to protect children? And the FBI can lay out all the programs they have, and then you can decide if that is enough, or if it needs to be expanded, or it needs to be re-administered, or whatever. But actually go to the fucking FBI who's in charge of this, instead of sitting there and bringing in some fucking dog and pony show so that Mark Zuckerberg can come in and install his personality software and fucking explain to some fucking 300-year-old dinosaur how fucking docs works. Like, it's stupid. It makes no fucking sense. It solves zero problems, and it just makes us look like assholes on the world stage. Tom Cotton sitting there grilling some guy from fucking Singapore about being one of them ching-chong Chinese guys is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen. It was insanely racist. It was stupid. It was out of touch, and it solves nothing. Except for gets votes for conservatives who have old people who are like, how come the ching-chongs aren't protecting the baby cakes? I don't understand what's going on. The internet is scary. Like, actually use government for government oversight. I know. Crazy concept. Weird.
That is incredibly weird. Why would you even bring up something like that?
Yeah, it's just a bunch of fucking racists throwing around terms they don't understand to make racist terms seem plausible.
Yeah, and it's one of those rare moments of actual bipartisan support, because both sides know they can fundraise off of this by saying that we've got to protect the children, we've got to help the children. And in a rare moment of actual...
Cool, give them health care.
In a rare moment of like actual insight and maybe even self-reflection that he'll promptly ignore, Lindsey Graham has said, I'm tired of talking, I'm tired of having discussions. Open up the courthouse door. Until you do that, nothing will change.
Broken clock, man.
Yeah, exactly. And if only you think about that with healthcare and, say, school shootings or any sort of gun reform that could lead to any sort of positive outcomes. Anything like that. But no, TikTok. TikTok's the problem, and that's why he's lamenting that there isn't enough action.
Is there a way we can sell TikTok to a Texas company so that the TikToks will... Can we put TikToks in the river to stop the immigrants from crossing over?
I'm
can
sorry,
the TikToks
sir.
have
I'm
razor
Singaporean. I've never been part of the Communist Party.
Which part of the Communist Party is that?
I'm from Singapore.
Singaporean. I've never heard of that country. Is that in the Middle East? Sir, are you a Muslim?
No, it's right next to Thailand.
Oh.
Now, when you get your invitations to the Communist Party, does it specify a dress code?
I don't know. I'm not part of the Communist Party, so I don't know.
Yeah, but do the Tinker Talks know how my phone can be put into the Rio Grande and stop migrants?
I'm sorry, but that's a coincidence. I don't know.
Can the Chinese Tonks help us with ending Finsta? Is that a thing we could do?
I mean, there might be somebody online that could teach you how to build it better than you're currently doing.
Are they communists from China?
They're probably not communists from China, though.
But are you a communist from China? That's what a communist from China would say.
I told you I'm from Singapore.
Are you a member of the Chinese Communist Party?
No, I'm not a member of the Chinese Communist Party.
Have you ever heard of the member of the Chinese Communist Party?
I know that there is such a thing, but I am not.
Oh, you do you? So I knew you did. I knew it. Everyone got that on record, right? We got that? Okay, good. We got that. Yeah. Gotcha.
Good. Now, dramatically storm off.
That is essentially what happened with the CEO of TikTok. And it's painful to watch because he just continues to at the CEO about the Communist Party and the fact that the parent company of TikTok is owned by a Chinese company, and that he once lived in China for 6 years because he was the head of a company there before he was the CEO of TikTok. Like, I don't understand what this fascination or obsession with the Chinese Communist Party was with this guy.
Oh, because the Chinese communists are using the click clocks to create Finsta, which is causing a crisis at our border that is harnessing the focus of the space lasers. And I just want my children to call me back, and I don't know. Yeah, it's out of touch centers, and it is the worst thing ever.
Anyhow,
but this one wasn't even fun. The last one was fun.
Yeah, no, this one was just
this one was just
horrifying
cringe
the whole time. It was horrifying.
All right, Drew, do a dab.
No, I don't.
Take us out of here.
No, I don't dab. I am not cool.
All right, well, dabble in some billionaire news. Tell me about some villain.
All right. Well, as is quickly becoming a recurring segment on our show, we do have more Elon Musk news.
Ooh, Elon.
Neuralink announced that they have successfully implanted their first brain chip into a human, which
Hooray!
let me preface this by saying, despite the jokes of me being a Luddite, which is not entirely incorrect, I don't have a problem with the concept of them. Because the stated goal is to help people with paralysis, to help people with traumatic brain injuries, to help people recover, actual good stuff. And Neuralink, for better or worse, does push the technology forward. The problem that I have with it, obviously, is that it's funded by Elon Musk, and we all know that as soon as he has the chance to do so, he's going to shove an update to require that you see his latest tweet in your brain before you can have any of the other functions.
Yeah, I'm all for something like Neuralink, right? I am all
Yeah,
for
me too.
interfacing that helps people who have disabilities. In all honesty, eventually this will be something that can just help people interface with technology, right?
Yeah.
This isn't necessarily a bad thing. I don't want the guy who can't stop making Cybertrucks that blow up and cars that can't autopilot, and he took the world's worst website and made it worse. And if anyone's in charge of this, it needs to not be that fucking asshole. And I don't want it to be any other fucking billionaire either. Like, okay, Jeff Bezos is competent. I also don't want Amazon running this. Like, can you even fucking imagine that?
Oh yeah, we can. Have you kept up on your Prime subscription? Well, you don't get to see today.
Yeah, but I also don't want Pfizer or anybody like that doing it either.
I do. I want to see a meditech company like Pfizer or one of them doing this, and I want it to be government funded. Like, I want the research to be government funded. Like, I want it to work the way that Republicans tell us capitalism's supposed to work. Like, I want to see government funding of a private industry because this is one of the rare cases where the private industry does do this better. When it comes to medical technology, right, academics and private industry do this the best. That is who does it. Setting up a government agency to do this is not going to work well. We have a civilian free market system that has the best in medical technology. Cool. Fund them so the IP stays with the federal government, all regulation stays with the federal government, and we will pay their bills to do this. That's how you do it.
I agree with that, but the exchange is always going to be, and then afterwards we get to keep the technology and make as much money as we can and not pay back the government who funded us.
And that's the reason why I don't want a pharma company doing it, is because it
Okay,
seems
but the
like
second the government makes it, a pharma company is going to grab it, steal the technology, and do their own anyway. But if the government funds it and holds the IP to it, they have the power to regulate it. Like, all you're talking about doing is moving the goalpost back 4 years from when it gets invented, and then Pfizer makes their own and does whatever the fuck they want to do with it. I want the government to control the initial IP. And then, yes, they can lease technology and let Pfizer do whatever they want with it, but by leasing that tech means they can pull that license whenever they want. Give it to them for fucking free. That's what I'm saying. Like, fund it and give them the license for free, but the federal government holds the license. It allows for regulation, and it stops for things like, Cybertruck ads in your eyeballs. That's all that needs to be done.
Yes, and I agree with that, but that's never going to be the way that it works until we get rid of lobbying.
That's how it went to the fucking moon, bro. It can happen.
I know. I don't disagree with you. I absolutely agree. It's possible. I'm saying we've let things go so far in the other direction that it's not going to happen until all that crap gets cleaned up. I agree with your goal. I agree with your assessment. I think that is how it should work. It's not going to happen that way, though.
Fair enough. I mean, the New Deal died with the death of the Glass-Steagall Act and Citizens United. Darkest timeline. Here we go.
Weasel theory.
Yep.
That's my prevailing thought, is weasel theory.
Well, that's this week in horrors that are man-made beyond your comprehension. I'm glad you're here with us, everybody. We love you. And I'm sorry there's just so rarely good news. But that's what's happening in America this week. But stay tuned. Don't worry. Things with Texas. If you're really worried about the Texas thing, don't. It will fizzle. I promise you, this is not going to be a civil war. As much as I want it to be, it won't happen. Be more worried about the Neuralink and about senators who have the power to turn your internet off and decide which apps are viable and not.
Uh-huh.
I would tell you to write them, but they don't fucking care. Vote third party, people. None of this ends until the two-party system starts going away. But we love you. We're here for you. Please hit us up on Discord. Feel free to email us. Talk to us. We will answer questions on the air. I shit you not. Come hang out with us and talk to us. Our Discord is on our Twitter. It's also, our link tree is up there, so you can find us anywhere. And Kay won't, but Drew and I will be around and talk to you anytime you want. And until then, we will see you next week. I am doing a panel, I think, next week on 805 Uncensored about Rise of Fascism, so we will eventually get the audio for that after I record it, and we'll put that up here for you, too, because that's always a fun time. But until then, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and remember that the revolution is you.